It's time for Coffee with the Chicken Ladies, a podcast for people who love chickens.
Hey everybody, and welcome. It's Chrisie&Holly from Coffee with the Chicken Ladies. We're here, and this is episode number 184 of our podcast, where we talk about everything chicken, family, fun, and
more chickens.
More chickens. We drink a ton of coffee. I'm talking a ton, but most importantly,
we hug chickens every day.
And we kiss them too, don't forget. We brew coffee from a little roaster in Houston, Texas. Bright and early coffee. Holly Ann, what kind of coffee are we brewing today?
Well, today is the delicious breakfast blend.
Even though it's in the afternoon, we're brewing it. It's an amazing coffee. Use the code CWTCL15 for 15% off their bagged coffee. And if you order K-Cups, they always ship free. Now, where should everybody go to get this bright and early coffee, Holly Ann?
brighthandearly.com.
And follow them over on Instagram. Are you ready to sip some of this delicious breakfast blend in the afternoon coffee?
I am. But first, a word from our sponsor.
We have some exciting news to share from our sponsor, Grubbly Farms. They're here, new and improved, Grubbly's World Harvest.
I'm a longtime subscriber, and my flock love the healthy, nutritious treats. Plus, orders $40 and more ship free.
If you haven't heard, Grubbly's has a fantastic layer pellet and crumble feed. It's packed with plant and insect protein, perfect for those picky chickens and ducks.
Grubbly Farms makes food and treats for healthy pets and planet.
To support us and Grubbly Farms, use the link grubbly.co/coffee. Try it today. Okay, so how are you doing?
Dying over here.
I was going to say, that's the $1 million question. Everyone, you don't know, but Holly has been suffering with COVID since last week. So as we record this, now we have both taken turns on the mic with COVID. Not fun, man. Not fun.
Yeah, I'll just do my best to get through this as best I can. I really wanted to do something else, but, Chrissy didn't want us to let down all of you lovely listeners, so here I am.
I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing with you. I'm just thinking of myself with all those.
With me, but I'm not laughing.
I'm thinking of myself with all those interviews, like sweat rolling down my face. Like, it's never fun, man. When you get sick and you have your own business, you keep going because that's what you do.
No,
you know.
I have COVID and severe asthma. I don't want to keep going. I want to go back in bed.
You do. I feel for you. I'm so sorry that you're sick. It's not fun. It's horrible. And I just want you to feel better.
Me too.
And the best part that's not good is that you didn't get it in an interesting place. You got it either at the feed store or the grocery store. So you were doing You're doing boring stuff and you get COVID. Like, come on.
Yeah, it was really not very romantic or fun or anything.
Yeah, it's not like you were at a big concert or Coachella or something like and came home and got COVID. No, you were
I would rather stab myself in the eyes than go to Coachella. But,
instead you were at Growls.
I was at Growls. I mean, Growls has really nice produce, but it wasn't worth the COVID.
No, not at all. Not at all. And I'm laughing, but yeah, I want you to feel better. It sucks. It's really not fun.
It's crap. And on that happy note, waiting for the goslings to arrive. They're not here yet, and I'm chewing my fingernails.
They were going to be here maybe today or tomorrow. So it looks like at this point in time, because it's mid to late afternoon right now, that it's going to be tomorrow, definitely. So you'll have your babies, more babies to take care of.
Yes, I have a lot of babies.
You do.
Including one that we believe is a rooster.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so, it is what it is.
We were talking over names this morning for him, Italian names.
Yeah, he does need an Italian name because he is a Leghorn. We could call him Leghorno the Great.
Leghorno. That's what I said. If I ever got one, I would use Leghorno. We might have two Leghornos if I ever got one.
You want him?
No.
He'll be here.
And on that note, if you're listening to our show and you're loving it, head on over to Apple Podcasts and leave us a written review. Let me tell you, some of these reviews that are coming in, you're blowing our minds. Thank you for saying such kind things. And we love reading them and we love being here for you guys. We will always be here for you. So leave us that written review. Give us that 5-star. We love it. If you're over on Spotify, do the same and hit subscribe. not inexpensive, $0 way to help us grow. Hit subscribe.
If you're looking for other ways to help support the podcast, you can tell a few chicken-loving friends about the show. You can share your favorite episodes on social media. You can check out our Etsy shop, mugs, t-shirts, tank tops. You can become a patron of the show, patreon.com/coffeewiththechickenladies. And the other thing you can do to help support the show is visit our website and our show notes, use our affiliate links and discount codes, and buy products from our sponsors.
Yay!
Just one little note. If you've tried to use our Nestera link and it wasn't working, we got it fixed. It's working again.
So go use that code.
If you're looking for a chicken coop that's produced in a planet-friendly, sustainable way, try Nestera.
Each coop is made from highly durable, 100% recycled plastic that keeps the equivalent of up to 2,000 shampoo bottles out of a landfill.
Their clean, modern design will fit into any garden or run area and comes with an industry-beating 25-year warranty and a range of handy accessories.
Simple to put together, so quick and easy to clean, and most importantly, red mite resistant. Your chickens will love it.
Quick shipping from Nestera.us.
For a 5% discount, use the affiliate link in our show notes, on our website, and on Instagram. Link in bio. Check them out today.
Hey, Chris.
Yeah.
Do you like subscription boxes?
Does it have anything to do with chickens?
Of course.
Then yeah. Let me take a minute to tell you about the Chicken Love Box. If you love goodies for your chickens and you need to go to chickenlove.com.
I love the mega box. Tons of useful products for my flock and a chicken tea for me.
You can't go wrong with a chicken tea. They are so cute and so soft.
In the April box, I absolutely love the chick leg bands and the organic soap set with hen decoration.
I am loving the Chicken Spirit long sleeve tee, and those chick vitamins, they could save a chick for sure.
Boxes start at $39 a month. They ship immediately after your order, and shipping is always free.
Such a great deal. Don't wait. Get off the nest and click already. Use the code CWTCL50 for 50% off your first box of a 3-month subscription or more. That's chickenlove.com. That's chickenluv.com. Get your subscription today.
The Breed Spotlight is brought to you by Murray McMurray Hatchery, defining quality for generations. For over a century, Murray McMurray Hatchery has remained a trusted family-owned business, working tirelessly to ensure our poultry meet the highest standards.
Whether you are an experienced enthusiast or just embarking on the journey, look to McMurray Hatchery for guaranteed quality, rare and heritage breeds, low minimums, and all the supplies you need to raise your flock. Request a free catalog today. This is the night of love. You're eating spaghetti by the river. It's now time for the Breed Spotlight. Yeah.
Yeah. What's happening over there? Is this like Lady and the Tramp?
This week's Breed Spotlight is
the Exchequer Leghorn. Where's... I mean, I got the Italian part, but where's the rest coming?
Oh, I don't know. Who knows? I think eating spaghetti by the river is just fun. I mean, you got to do that someday.
It sounds nice. It does. Maybe Leghorn the Great would like to eat spaghetti by the river.
Maybe.
He's really devoted. So he's a silver leghorn, and I have a female silver leghorn, and he's very devoted to her. It's really sweet.
Oh, you got your next Casper and Honey suckle.
Kind of, yeah. Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah, we'll have to see how that works out.
Oh, boy. Who knows? He might turn out to be a she. You never know.
Girl, you saw that photo of him. What do you
I'm trying to be optimistic here.
I'd rather accept the fact that I have another rooster and plan accordingly than just wait and hope for something that's physically not possible.
Oh, man. Well, he is a leghorn. And today we're talking about a different kind of leghorn, though.
Right. So this is the Exchequer Leghorn. And they are, if you've not seen an Exchequer, it is a gorgeous black and white modeled version of our beloved leghorns. They are not an APA accepted color variety at this time, but both Italy and the British poultry clubs do have standards for the Exchequers, and they are shown in both countries. Overall, heritage strain, by which we mean non-production,
right?
Heritage strain leghorns are currently in the Livestock Conservancy's recovering category, so that is great news for leghorns as a whole.
It is.
If you want a lot of in-depth information overall about the leghorn breed, early history, etc., you want to go listen to episode 85 and episode 172 we did recently about the brown leghorn.
And if you want a really good laugh and you want to listen about the leghorn, go to episode 4. It's one of our very first episodes. Let me tell you, we've gotten a lot better since then. But that one was so funny. I love that episode. And we talk about the leghorn there too.
The Exchequer Leghorn was developed in the UK, not Italy, not the US, in the UK. So just to back up a little bit, the first leghorns, which were white, arrived in the UK in 1870. They'd already been here in the US for quite a while. So the first leghorns that arrived in the UK came from the US. First the whites, then the browns.
One of those weird swaps. Usually we get all of our chickens from the UK, but the UK actually got the leghorns from us.
Exactly. 34 years after the date of these white leghorns, so we're talking just around 1900, somewhere in there, the Exchequer color pattern actually occurred naturally in a flock of white leghorns that lived in Scotland. In 1904, there was a breeder named Robert Miller, and he noticed that his flock of white leghorns hatched some mottled birds. He thought they were very attractive, and they're so pretty. He began selecting and breeding the mottled birds together for a couple of generations until they were breeding true.
Right.
And then he began selling them, making himself a nice profit, because if you've seen the Exchequers, you know what a pretty bird that is.
Oh, yeah, they're beautiful.
So because of his nice profit, he named them Exchequer, Exchequer meaning the royal treasury, because he was doing really well with these birds.
He was like, yeah, come buy some of these beautiful birds.
So what happened there was a sport. You say the Exchequer Leghorn was a sport of the white leghorn. And what is a sport, genetically speaking? It's actually a term from botany that's used to describe a plant that naturally develops a genetic mutation, usually giving it a different appearance from the parent plant. Because this occurred naturally, there was no selective breeding to produce parent stock. The genetic mutation, whatever it was, is present in each of these birds that hatched, and it remains in the offspring. So it becomes an actual distinct genetic factor for them.
Exactly. It's pretty cool.
It is. It's interesting. I mean, literally, the man was breeding white leghorns, and boom, there's a mottled one.
He came into some buck. He was like, yeah.
It's like Mother Nature decided these white leghorns needed a little flash.
Yeah. I mean, it is some flash. They look pretty cool. I mean, but our hearts are with the leghorns. Everybody knows us. We love the leghorns.
Yes, absolutely.
Now, let's look into this. The Exchequers are black and white mottled, okay, in color, but they look very much like every other leghorn when it comes to the other ways they appear. So they have very large single combs. They have those white earlobes, that upright tail, and the light body of the classic leghorn. So again, this is a chicken that if you want to have lots of eggs and you don't have as much space, it's a smaller chicken. This is what you would want for your homestead or your backyard. So they have those clean yellow legs that I love with a bit of broken black and slate mottling present, because sometimes you'll know if you get a mottled bird, it does go down to the legs.
Yeah.
So the hens are going to weigh about the same as your average leghorn, 4 to 4.5 pounds. And the roos can go up to 6 pounds. So they're a little bit bigger, but not too much. Now, here we go. Egg stats. Are they the same? Yes. So like the rest of the family, the Exchequer hens are accomplished layers. I mean, can you have a leghorn and not have an accomplished layer? I don't think so.
Yeah.
So they're going to give you 250 plus large white eggs per year. Now, let me tell you, Lucy's a little girl, about 4.5 pounds. She lays one of the biggest eggs. It's so crazy.
She is a laying machine. It is amazing to watch her.
She's a laying and digging machine. That's what she does the best, and eating. And let me tell you, if you need a broody hen, this Exchequer is not going to be your girl.
It's not your hen.
No. I mean, leghorns, they are like, no joke, they're like A-type personality chickens. If you handle them a lot in the very beginning, they will snuggle with you once you have them, everything else. But they're A-type personalities. They wake up in the morning. Okay, let's lay that egg. Okay, that egg's done. Let's go out. Let's eat. Let's dig. Let's drink. They never stop.
Dr. Yuko called them freaky deeks, because they're like the and I love that. It's driven personality.
They're driven, type A, all the way. And the way she lays her eggs, too, quick. Go in there 10 minutes later, boop, eggs out.
Oh, I know. She is all business, that Lucy.
I know.
She's like, talk about the modern girl boss. It's Lucy.
I know. So they're going to make you some excellent, and I'm talking excellent homestead birds because they're smaller and they're going to give you high production of eggs.
Right. I mean, especially in warm climates, that's where they really shine. In cold climates, they will absolutely need protection for those huge combs because they will get hit with frostbite very quickly.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Lucy, I have to watch out for her. I mean, but I bring mine in with the Cozy Coop heaters. If it gets below a certain, degree, I want to protect those combs and wattles.
Also, because they are such a slight-bodied bird, supplemental heat may be necessary, really, for most of these small-bodied Mediterranean chickens.
I think it's definitely needed. Honestly, they're little. They don't have fluff feathers. They're no nonsense in every way, shape, or form. So you're going to need some supplemental heat. If you're in a warmer environment, they're going to flourish. They love it. They're going to be great.
They do, yeah. I mean, the coop where this batch of chicks is going with the 3 Leghorns, I already have supplemental heat in there for, well, one, because I have 3 old hens in there, but also because I have Delilah, the Egyptian Fayumi.
Yeah.
And she does not do cold. So,
I wonder how she's going to do with them. I wonder how she's going to do.
No, the brown Leghorn, Donatella, the beautiful Donatella Versace, Donatella is calmer now that she's older. She was really the ringleader for kind of wildness when they were babies.
Right.
But she's definitely gotten used to me. I think as long as they leave Delilah alone, it'll be fine. If they pick on her, they're going to find that she's the fastest thing under the sun, though.
Let me hypnotize you with my large, dark eyes and then come attack you.
Oh,
that's what she's going to do.
Calls her the Road Runner, and there's a good reason for that.
So now, if you get these Exchequers, let me tell you, they're going to be like Lucy. They're going to be like Holly Ann's. They're never going to stop. They like to keep moving. The best way to think about it is type A personality. They're making lists. They're checking them off all day long.
Freaky deeks.
So, they're like, okay, dig for 4 hours. Check. Lay the egg for 10 minutes. Check. They're going to do all these things for you.
They're very curious birds, though.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
Not like they don't have any interest in people. They're curious and they do like to see what you're doing. Just don't get in the way of their work. They have the usual reputation for flightiness, but again, they can definitely become friendly if you handle them often.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Lucy will fall asleep on me. I think even on our IG page, there's pictures of her and video of her sleeping on me. And it's all about handling them a ton so that they're used to you. But you don't want to, that type A isn't going to stop. They're like, okay, you held me for 10 minutes. Let me go work for another 20. So, it's not a bad thing at all. It's a great thing, actually.
Yeah, absolutely. They do need space to explore, or like most of the Mediterraneans, they're smart and they can become bored and may start bullying other chickens. So you have to watch that.
Definitely. Yes. So they do make a gorgeous addition to any chicken lady or gents flock. They're practical. I mean, they're an awesome, if you like Leghorns, you can also get Leghorns and like Orpingtons in different varieties and have all straight Leghorns and have a different looking flock. That's the amazing thing.
You can even have the 55 flowery hens in there because they are completely derived from Leghorns. Did you know in Italy, the leg bar is actually listed as a variety of Leghorn?
Oh, wow.
Here in Italy, under their breed standard, the bar is considered an auto-sexing Leghorn.
And the leg bars are another, no nonsense type A personality kind of. They take on a lot of the characteristics, but they're only half Leghorn. Right. I mean, come on.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. So this is the top question here. We have everybody, they're going to want this Exchequer Leghorn. Where are they going to go to find this bird?
Well, here in the U.S., you can find Exchequer Leghorns at My Pet Chicken, though they are currently sold out.
Shocker.
Now, McMurray Hatchery does not breed Exchequers, but they do have several other beautiful colors, including the beautiful brown and the silver Leghorns, some of which I have in the brooder. I have to tell you, are exquisite birds. They're absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, you're going to be seeing them on our IG page.
I'm sure you're going to see a lot of them.
So here's the part where we say, if you have the Exchequer Leghorn, send us Or put a story up and hit mention, put our name in. That way we can reshare it to our storyboard. We want to see your Exchequer Leghorns. Our dear friend Fiona actually has the Exchequer Leghorn.
Yes.
And you can see them over on her page also. They're really beautiful.
They're beautiful.
Are you ready to dive into the fascinating world of backyard ducks? Look no further than Metzer Farms, your premier destination for top quality waterfowl. Whether you're a seasoned breeder or just starting out, Metzer Farms has everything you need to elevate your flock to the next level. And if you're passionate about call ducks, you're in for a treat.
Metzer Farms hatches a stunning variety of call ducks, meticulously bred for their miniature size, beauty, and calm temperament. From snowy whites to vibrant colors, each duck is a masterpiece waiting to grace your backyard. Visit metzerfarms.com today to browse their extensive selection and start your journey into the wonderful world of waterfowl. Metzer Farms, where passion meets perfection. Roosty's proudly sponsors Coffee with the Chicken Ladies. They're back with an innovative new product. You're going to want to check this out.
It's an extra large set, a 14-pound feeder in 3-gallon water with steep anti-roost lids. They're made of super durable material. You can either stand them on legs or hang them on brackets on your coop or fence. They're easy to remove and clean too. Plus, they look awesome.
We personally use Roosties and we're huge fans. So if you're raising chicks or keeping chickens, check out the Roosty store on Amazon or follow the link in our show notes.
UK chicken lovers, this one's for you. Get happy, healthy hens with ECONourish's live Calci worms. Enrichment, nutrition, and protection in one tasty, sustainable pack. Scientifically proven to support glossy feathers, strong laying and skeletal health,
protect from disease, and improve gut health and immunity. You'll also bust flock stress by stimulating natural instincts and get eco-bragging rights. Visit econourish.co.uk and use the code COFFEE15 for 15% off your first order. Your chickens and the planet will hug you for it. Okay, so are we ready to move on to main topic? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, this week we're talking with, speaking of Fiona. So we're going to go across the pond and have coffee with Fiona. Yeah. Okay, so we were welcoming our dear friend Fiona back to the table this month. How are you doing?
I'm doing really well, actually. I'm starting to walk. So,
yay!
Just in case no one's listened recently, I broke my leg in January and I've not been walking. I've basically been a bit of a cripple for a few months, but I am up and about and I'm allowed to put weight on my leg now. So I am learning to walk again and I'm out with the chickens and it's wonderful. I love it.
Yay. We need to inject like the cheers in here. Woo!
Right?
Yay! Yeah,
no, it's lovely actually, because I think to begin with, the chicks were afraid of my crutches, but you know, a few treats, that's all gone away. And of course, Sassy is on my shoulder, on my head, and it's just lovely. It really is. The only thing is, Uno's not on my knee anymore. She won't come on my knee, and it's because those broody hormones have flooded.
Oh,
and the thing is with Uno, all of the other broodies, when they go broody, turn into the sweetest little chickens. But she's one little bitey hormonal bundle. I mean, she doesn't actually hurt. You know, she kind of grabs your finger with her beak. It's not really serious, but, you know, none of the others do that. Ours are so sweet. But Uno, oh my goodness, no, she's gone from sweet to horrible.
I have such a hard time thinking about her as a mama hen because the picture I have of Una was as a baby.
Oh, she's amazing. And the thing is, last year she had her own chicks and she actually had 15 of her own.
Wow.
And then we unexpectedly lost Jellybean, and Jellybean had 14 chicks, unfortunately, when she unexpectedly died. And Uno adopted all of them.
Wow.
What happened?
So she had all of them in the coop together and she was doing amazingly well. And then Orkney had her chicks and she had 12, and Uno was on the brood coop run, and she was determined that Orkney's chicks were going to be hers as well. And actually, as it turns out, Uno and Orkney shared all of the chicks between them in the end. So it kind of worked its way out. The weirdest thing was seeing Orkney with her chicks, which were 4 weeks younger than Jelly Beans and Uno's. But, she just took them all in. It was great. And they kind of shared the two mothers. It was amazing. But Uno as a mother's fabulous. She really is.
That's amazing. Well, so this week we wanted to talk about chick development. And we're talking so we had to bring in the chick breeding expert here in Fiona because, chicks from birth to pullet, they go through a lot of phases. They go through a lot of stuff to get to that pullet size before they become layers even. And I feel like it's something that we need to talk about because people deal with it and you're like, what's going on? Right.
We had Mark and Twain from Nutrina on a couple weeks ago, and they were telling us about the nutrition necessary in the different stages. It was really fabulous stuff. But then we thought, why don't we talk about the different stages? What's actually happening in the development? So you have a lot of babies to watch. So you see the development all the time.
Yeah, and the behavior changes as well. It's not just the chicks themselves. They change the behavior all the way through because they become more confident. I mean, I see them with broody hens a lot more. And it's actually their behavior is in line with the broody hen gradually pulling away. And she pulls away as they gain more confidence. And it's really interesting to watch. But there are very distinct phases as they go through. So there's the teeny chick. There's the testing the boundary toddler stage. There's the stage that I call the velociraptor stage. And then there's the teenagers.
Exactly.
And then there's mini chicken. So there's proper mini chicken. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And I feel like when the chicks are tiny, like a few days old, they don't really show you their personalities yet because they're tiny babies. And, they're so like they stand still. You can pick them up very easily. And I feel like as the phases go through, people have trouble saying, well, in the beginning, I could pick them up. And when they were just a few days old, now they run. It's natural behavior for them to want to do that. It doesn't mean that they don't want you to hold them. It doesn't mean that they're afraid of you. That's just natural behavior that's coming into play instinctually as those instincts start to fire up. Right.
Yeah, I mean, they're actually learning to run from potential predators, so unusual circumstances. So if a hen comes down into the brooder, it's them actually practicing, well, if it was something which was dangerous, I need to run away from it. As soon as they realize it's you, that they will come back. I mean, mine with the broodies, the broodie will bring them over. And they're absolutely fine. But initially when they go in, if you surprise them and you've seen us coming into the orchard, they will scatter.
Right.
Or they will go flat to the ground completely, which is the other one they do and play dead, which that's freaky. That's very
Yes,
freaky.
It can be.
And I mean, Holly and I right now do have chicks in these stages. They're just over a month old. So we're going through these stages again while everybody else is with their chicks. And it's so amazing to see that you can have two of the same breed develop a little bit differently, slower, faster. And this is the time when everybody says, is this a rooster or a hen? And it's really hard to distinguish at this moment in time.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
The golden rule, you will know when they crow. And I mean, that's 100% what you can go by, right?
That's absolutely 100% non-refutable. If you're experienced, you can start to pick it out by their posture and their bodies. Mm-hmm. The comb and the wattles will often tell you that tale as well. You start to see wattle dropping and big red comb. But you're right about they all look really different. I mean, I've got 3 leghorns in the brooder right now, a brown and I believe 2 silver, because one of them ginger slipped in there. And the brown, she's like a third bigger than the 2 silvers, and they're all the same age. It's
interesting, isn't it?
Yeah. So
I mean, it's strange you're saying about the roosters and hens. I mean, I've been doing this for decades, and people keep saying, "Oh, you must be able to tell really early on." And the reality is, for me, I mean, I can't vent sex them. I don't have that skill. I'm no good at it. I can do it when they're about 5 weeks old, but when they're chicks, I can't do it. And I can tell maybe 10% of them at 2 weeks old, 20% at 3 weeks, 30% at 4 weeks, and so on. But there's always one who leaves you guessing at the end.
And who is
so
always
frustrating.
A roux.
Not always.
Not always.
Not
always. And
I was convinced that Uno was going to be a rooster. And
Okay.
Uno is, as we've just been talking about, one of our fantastic broody hens.
Yeah.
And she's amazing. But I think it was because actually I wanted her to be a rooster because she came from a set of eggs we bought in so we could hatch a breeding cockerel for the following year. And it didn't happen. And of course, she's called Uno because she was the only one that hatched. So I didn't actually have a reference with any of the others to say whether she was smaller or bigger. So, it's one of those things.
True. I mean, I had Mary Berry, the speckled Sussex, and Fiona, you and I were convinced that she was Paul Hollywood.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, no. And Chrissy was right.
And I had Olive, who was one of my Americanas, who, just developed quicker than everybody else. And everybody was convinced. And Sophia, she was Sophia's chicken. And then all of a sudden, she lays her first egg in the middle of the yard while we're out there with her.
That's pretty decisive, yeah.
And I'm like, yes, we got ourselves a girl. And then you have Gertie, who shows the signs all along, like,
she did the wing dance and
everything, and she was a pure girl.
Yeah. So your chicks, whether they're hatching or they've just arrived from the Postal Service, the first 1 to 2 weeks, I mean, they're really small. You've got that little egg tooth on the end of the beak for 2 or 3 days.
Yeah.
I think within the first week, you start to see little wing feathers sprouting.
Right.
Just a little bit.
And that's so cute. And then the second week, you'll probably start to see the first little tufts on the tail as well.
Yes.
And this is where lots of people start to think, well, they've got tail feathers coming, there must be a male.
No.
It's not the case. It doesn't make any difference whatsoever. A lot of our hens have developed the feathers first.
So let's go in and talk about this, because this is essentially their first molt of their lives. They have baby down feathers that are soft little feathers, and these are coming out and they're growing their entire body of feathers in. So this is essentially the very first molt. And we had a question the other day by one of the listeners, can I still handle them? Am I hurting them? And yes, you can handle them. That's the answer.
I had somebody contact me the other day, actually, who was saying they don't molt. You're absolutely wrong. They don't molt until they're adults, until they get through to 18 months old. And I said, look, trust me, if you've ever bred chickens, there are certain times you'll go into the yard and it looks like a chicken has exploded.
Yeah.
Because there's feathers everywhere.
Yeah.
And it's because they actually go through, I think, somewhere in the region of 5 iterations of feathers from being a chick all the way to being an adolescent. Yeah. Because their feathers only grow to a certain size, and then they have to molt them and grow even bigger ones to properly fit their body.
Right.
And it's that there's so many feathers on those occasions. But she was adamant, absolutely adamant. Couldn't tell her.
I mean, if you're losing feathers and growing feathers, it's a molt. There's
molting Molting is replacing feathers. Even if it's the down being replaced by grown-up feathers, it's still molting.
Now, and then we were talking about nutritionally, they're on a little bit more protein and calcium because they need those nutrients through that phase. So that's going to be, like we talked about, another phase is growing in the feathers.
Yeah, and they increase the maneuverability at this point as well. So they get a lot bolder. And this is, I think it's part of the evolution. I mean, this is my own theory. I've never seen this written down anywhere, but I have noticed that when they get their wing feathers, when a chicken is an adult, unless they're a very light breed, they don't actually manage to gain any height. But when they've got their first wing feathers, if you look at the height one of those little chicks with those wing feathers can gain, it's a huge amount. And from an evolutionary point of view, being able to get away from predators and getting that height is phenomenal. And of course, they're experimenting with that all the time, see how far they can get, how high they can get. And if you've got them in a brooder as well, you've got to be prepared for that, because if you don't have some kind of cover over the top, oh my goodness, you're going to lose them.
Yeah, I had a leghorn fly out at a little over 2 weeks old. She just flew right out. Yeah. So that was the end of that. The cover was zipped onto the brooder.
My Bielefelders are coming. They've been coming up to the top of flying up to the top of the brooder for a while now. I'm like, enjoy it now because you are a big fluffy chicken.
Oh, yeah.
That's not going to be happening later on.
Yeah, no, they're not going to have any lift. So from 2 to 4 weeks, your chicks their legs are growing stronger. Like you said, Fiona, they're getting wing feathers. They're testing that out. they get close to doubling in size. By the time
Yeah.
we've gotten from 4 to 6 weeks, we are looking at a lot of feathering at that point. Usually full feathers. A lot of the rest of the body feathers have come in. And you have birds that are probably eating 3 times as much as they were before.
Oh, yeah, very much so. And pooping 3 to 4 times as much as they were before. That's the other thing to be prepared for. And they can trash a brooder area so fast at that age as well, can't they? But there's so much fun. They're wonderful at that age because they're also testing out the pecking order as well. So you see them doing, none of it's violent. None of it is doing anything other than testing out those characteristics. And it's the chest bumps and the long stares at each other. That's the funniest one to watch is that they'll just stare at each other like statues for minutes on end and then all of a sudden give up and walk off. It's the weirdest thing.
I love their explosive energy. You'll have chicks quiet and then all of a sudden, wham, they're everywhere.
Wham, yeah.
And this is a time that you may need to expand your brooder space because they still need to be in that brooder unless you have a broody mom, right? And most people are not having a broody mom. And you have a brooder that was set up for the first 6 weeks. And as they grow, you may need to expand the size of your brooder. We're seeing a lot of people message or putting out there on social, like, my chickens are 6 weeks. Can they be outside without heat?
No, not unless you live in Florida and it's 80 degrees.
Exactly. They still need to be in at least 80, 100% of the time, 85. They cannot come out. They still need a brooder at that point, even though they're fully developed. They're little. They're tiny still.
I mean, if you want to move them into a coop or something, that's fine, but you still have to have a heat source for them.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, when we had the old English pheasant fowl and we originally had the eggs under a broody hen and unfortunately she broke and we didn't have another broody hen for them. So we raised them with a brooder plate. Now, we had a very early warm spell that summer, so they did go out earlier than normal. But by luck, what we actually managed to do is a friend of ours had old engine boxes. So he rebuilds cars and he gets engines delivered in these great big wooden crates. And he'd converted 2 of them for chicks for himself. So he lent them to us. So we were able to put these 2 crates side by side. One of them had a warmer brooder plate in it and the other one didn't. Mm-hmm. And we could then test whether the chicks needed the brooder plate by whether they actually went to sleep in the coop with the brooder plate or not.
Yeah.
And what did they do?
Well, actually, for the first week or so, when they went out, I mean, don't forget the days were about 25 degrees Celsius and the nights were about 18 degrees Celsius. So for the first week, and they went out when they were 5 weeks old. So until they were 6 weeks, they were still under the brooder plate in those temperatures. And then a few of them migrated into the other coop. And we still left the brooder plate out there for a further 2 weeks, so they had a choice. But they started to completely ignore the crate that had the brooder plate in it after about a week.
Yeah.
But we wanted to play it safe and leave it there just in case they wanted
Right.
So and you're proving our point, Fiona, because those temperatures are roughly 77 during the day and about 64 at night.
Yeah.
So they were still wanting the heat for a while. Yeah.
The sad thing is people commented on this post that I read. It came up on my social media and they're like, oh, they're fine. They'll huddle together to keep warm. That could lead to chicks dying. Honestly, if they have to huddle together, that's one of the things that you don't want to see, right? You don't want to see them having to huddle together in that phase. A lot of people think that at 6 weeks, they're just like, that's it. That's not it at that point. You still that's halfway through, really, growing up through those stages.
I feel like heat is nuanced. I mean, there are times where, because we've had such crazy weather, we had 90 degrees, when the babies were young. And there was even an afternoon where we had to turn the heat lamp off because it was just so warm.
Yeah.
You've got to pay attention to that. I mean, I think I love how you had that on offer for them to see.
Right.
That's cool. They were using it. But heat is a nuanced thing. And I think people need to pay a lot of attention to it. I also, you can come at me. I'm not afraid, man. I still use a heat lamp for the first couple months of their life because my chickens are in an unheated garage and I feel like it gets them the appropriate amount of heat.
I think it depends on breed as well, too.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, the Old English pheasant fowl are a very light breed and very lightly feathered. So I think they would have needed heat longer. But our Orpingtons, I mean, Puffin is one of our Orpingtons, and she had 12 chicks. And she's just made her chicks independent, and they're just under 7 weeks old. And actually, they're perfectly fine. And we haven't introduced a heat source into the coops because actually we trust our broody hen mothers to know when the chicks can cope and the weather's okay for them. And it isn't as warm as temperatures were for the Old English pheasant fowl, but they are a much lighter breed. So I think some of it as well is down to size, feathering.
And if you have a broody mom, she's supplying the heat for them by sitting on them. So she's a heat source in herself.
We saw her in the coop with the chicks before she made them independent. And for the last week before she made them independent, essentially the chicks were sleeping separate from her. So they weren't trying to cuddle up to her. They weren't trying to be underneath her in any way. And to be honest, these chicks are huge. I mean, just under 7 weeks, they're enormous.
That tells you what you need to know. It really does. I mean, so we're looking at like the first 2 to 4 weeks. That's when like their skeletons are growing, their ligaments and connective tissues. And Mark Akers was talking about the reproductive organs growing. Those are weeks for foundational growth. So nutrition's really important. The appropriate amount of heat is really important.
And they don't have full feathers. They don't have a full covering.
Exactly.
You can still see the down sticking out between the feathers.
They have feathers, but they're not like it's not like all their fluff is on them at that point. So
our chicks are right at a month, right? And they're feathering pretty well. But I've got to tell you who I'm astonished by, and that's the silver gray Dorkings. They are almost fully feathered.
Really?
Yeah, and they're gorgeous. They're long and low. I mean, that's the Dorking trademark. They're a long and low chicken, but they've got this beautiful silver on them. They're gorgeous. I'm not taking them out. They can come or go at which end of the brooder's huge right now because Chrissy would remark on it every time we talked in the small brooder. It was like brooder party over here.
Yeah, they were loud.
We moved them into the cheapest thing. They've got the heat lamp at one end, and I'll say the people using the heat lamp most of the time are the Leghorns because they're smaller. But back to the chicks. So feather development is going to depend on breed, on nutrition, probably even genetics, things like that. So those first 6 weeks, it's all that foundational growth. Then like 6 to 8, I feel like they really start cranking feather growth over time. I feel like they do a whole other molt and grow in during that time.
Oh, yeah, just at the start, that's what I call the velociraptor stage. So just before they get that full feather covering. And they really do look like proper dinosaurs. And actually, lots of people who've seen them at that stage when they come and see us and don't know chickens very much say, oh, they're really ugly. How can they go from cute chicken to really ugly?
They go through awkward stages because all the feathers aren't completely in and their bodies are growing. So that's those teenage years, too, where they're
we all had acne and we're really gawky at that age,
exactly. They're really awkward. They're so adorable in their own way. And they're getting to know chicken life. And, I was talking to Sophia was out there with me and she was like, oh my God, I can't believe they're doing this and this and this. No one teaches them. Sometimes instinctually, they know to do the things. And as they get older, they do. So, you have to, like Holly said, the key importance is the nutrients in the food. The food is so important. The heat, keeping them safe from predators at this point, because, it's like a 15-year-old kid. They think they can take on the world. They're ready. They know everything, or a 16-year-old, but they don't. And that's the perfect example to me is
they don't know what they don't know. Yeah,
exactly. They're like, but meanwhile, they haven't seen the world yet. They don't quite know. So they still need some protection.
So we've gotten through the velociraptor stage. We've got babies that are coming in fully feathered. From here on out, it's growth and maturity. That's what we're looking at. Maturing into grown-up chickens.
Yeah.
Again,
The thing is, I think that if you haven't had time to spend with them up to this stage, from 8 weeks, when they really start to feel like they are proper adults, they're clearly not, but they think they are. That's the time. If you can just go out with your cup of coffee and spend time with them, from then you will be able to make up for the time that you couldn't spend with them when they were younger, and they will be more likely to come back.
I found that is absolutely true.
It's so important. Everybody talks about bonding with your chickens.
Yeah.
It's simple. Spend time with them. Show them that your hand gives them love, gives them food, gives them treats, gives them warmth. It's so simple. There's nothing complicated to make in all of this. It's just show them attention.
You can multitask, because I was talking to a lady the other day and she was saying, I haven't got time. I've got my kids. I've got work. I've got all of these things to do. And I said, well, can you multitask? So, you do your clean out. Can you just spend a little bit more time? Maybe just talk to them. Maybe put a hand out to, show that you trust them. If you have a cup of coffee in the morning, do you have to have it in your kitchen? Can you have it sat out in the run with them? Multitask. If there's anything you can do with them rather than inside your house, just try and do it.
Yep, exactly.
If it's make a phone call while sat in a chair with the chickens. Chickens won't mind you on the phone.
Exactly. They'll actually like it. They'll get to know your voice, and they'll get to know you even more. It's such an important stage that they go through from birth to pullets. Just so much time of growth and everything else. It's amazing. It's amazing time for them.
It is, and it's an amazing time for us to watch them as well. So entertaining, seeing the little personalities coming out. If you don't get to see that, if you buy them later in life, you do miss out on quite a bit. It's worth getting them at chick stage, or in the UK, buying chicks isn't as common. So hatching, but have that cockle plan. If you're going to do that, you learn so much about your chooks and your hens that way. It's amazing.
It's completely enriching. And as we wrap this up, I think maybe it might be worthwhile, since we do have so many new listeners again, just talking about how we start moving our chickens out. Like what I've moved through, and I know, Fiona, you've got the broody hens, so you're gold over there.
The broody hens do it all for me. It's great.
Amazing. So as we hit the 3-month mark, I start taking my babies out every day and putting them in. Within each of my runs, we've built a great big pen for integration.
Yeah.
So at about 3 months, I start taking them out and putting them in there, so that when we get to about the 4-month mark, or when they're large enough to go with the big girls, that's when we start integrating.
I think we have a whole entire episode on integration with Fiona, actually.
Yeah.
It's a great
where
one.
we talk about all of this.
I will link it in the show notes, because that is a great episode.
Of course it is. It involved me. Oh dear, I'm feeling
She's not confident at all. She's not confident at all.
I'm not normally. That's why I was laughing, because I'm not, honestly.
Fiona, thank you so much for coming on.
I love being on here and talking to you. You know that.
Oh, we love you so much. And, just the chicks and what they do and all the fun stuff. Hey, enjoy it. That's number one rule. Enjoy it. Enjoy them.
I mean, observe your chicks. They kind of tell you what they need. Obviously, with that much physical growth going on, they do need tip-top nutrition and care. But
quality food foundation all the way down the line. Don't compromise. If you want to compromise later in their life, if money is a problem, don't compromise at the beginning. Compromise later if you can, because it's so important while they're growing. So, so important.
Yeah. That's an awesome point. And on that note, we want to say thank you again for coming on, and we will see you next month. We'll talk to you later.
See you. Bye.
Bye.
We just want to thank Fiona one more time for a great chat. We always have such an interesting time talking with her. Don't forget to check out her awesome videos over on her YouTube channel, English Country Life.
Okay, we ready to move on to
Cracking the eggs.
Cracking those eggs. Now, Holly was in her kitchen. We call it the test kitchen over there.
Doing some test kitchen, but this is pre-COVID.
Yeah, pre-COVID. So don't worry if you get some of it. It's not COVID cake, but she was experimenting with some stuff. And she came up with our recipe this week, and our recipe is...
It's buckwheat pound cake with chocolate chips. And before you say anything, you have got to give it a chance.
Give it a try.
Really good.
But don't make it for anybody until, like, the COVID's done.
I'm not making it for you now.
After COVID, you can.
No, not after you saying that stuff.
I don't want your COVID cake.
So the Metzer sent us each like a boatload of eggs, duck eggs.
They're amazing.
And they really are. I have found that the biggest difference they have, they don't taste much different to me. What I've found is a difference in texture, in the crumbs specifically of my cakes. So
right.
I wanted to do this peach jam cake, and I did not have enough flour. I was like, what the heck? All I have is like a little bit of regular flour and a thing of buckwheat flour from making buckwheat crepes. So gave this a try, used the duck eggs. I thought if I'm going to make a weird cake, I may as well put duck eggs in it, right?
Yep.
It was so good. It was unbelievably good.
But at that point, you didn't share it with me. You guys just ate it all over there.
Yep, we did.
Okay, so let's go into the ingredients that you're going to need for this buckwheat pound cake with chocolate chips. 3 large eggs. Now, Holly Ann did use 3 duck eggs so that it makes it very tender. That's the one thing. It does make it more tender and moist, the duck eggs, I feel like. 2/3 of a cup of granulated sugar, 6 ounces of butter or unsalted butter, melted and cooled, and you can get dairy-free if you need to. 1 1/3 cups of buckwheat flour, 2 teaspoons of baking powder for that rise, a generous pinch of sea salt, and about a half a bag of chocolate chips. You can add more or less, however you feel.
I will warn you, if you add more, they will sink to the bottom.
Oh, you know my trick for chocolate chips, though? You put them in flour first.
That's an old trick, and it doesn't always work.
It works for mine. I've used it lots and lots.
Great.
I just really coat them with the flour, and it keeps it within the cake.
Try it for the buckwheat pound cake and see if it works.
Oh, I bet you it will. It'll work.
Preheat your oven to 350 degrees and spray your pan of choice. You can use a loaf pan, a small bunt pan, or a horn pan, whatever you want. I have 2 mini bunts that I really like for things like this.
That's what she said.
Shut up. So spray your pans of choice, set that aside. In a medium bowl, you're going to whisk together the eggs, the sugar, and the butter or dairy-free butter until it's slightly frothy. So put a little elbow grease on it. In another medium bowl, you're going to combine the flour, the baking powder, the salt, and the chocolate chips. Fold the dry stuff into the wet stuff using a spatula just until everything is blended. Pour that into your pan and bake it for 25 to 30 minutes or until the cake is golden brown and the tester comes out clean. And it is that easy.
That is it. And then you bring it to your bestie's house after you don't have COVID.
Oh no, you're getting a COVID cake now. COVID cake on the way. You want it? Here it comes.
Oh man. And you enjoy it. You talk chickens, you drink some coffee, you have a piece of cake. You can make the whole scenario up around the cake. Try it. You might like it.
It might come with a silver leghorn rooster too.
Do not bring your rooster over here with that cake.
I'd be like,
all of a sudden I'm like, why did Holly pull up and I hear,
oh
no. Okay, that's not good. Okay, so we're ready to move on to retail therapy. Retail therapy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, this week's retail therapy, we're going to give you the story of our new coffee roaster because it's a really cool story. And it's a coffee roaster out of Houston, Texas. And they've been doing business for a really long time. I mean,
the biggest standout thing about this business, not just the fact that they've been around for a long time, that's great. There's some great stories that go along with it. But the owner has a chicken car, and we're not even kidding. It's got a tail and a head. It is a chicken car.
You have to go over to their social media or their website to check out the car. And it's coffee and chickens. They love coffee and chickens. So Herschel M. Duncan started this company in 1918, this roaster. Can you believe that? That's a long time.
That's only a little bit younger than the Exchequer Leghorn.
And the family still owns the business. So
Right.
they're still going on. And, he fired up the roaster and he started developing special coffee blends. They were exclusively sold to the finest restaurants, hotels, and railroad dining cars. That's pretty
fun.
cool.
I like that.
Yeah. So, he started doing all this, and now we go to today, and Herschel Duncan the fourth, is now running everything, and he's running everything in the footsteps of his great-grandfather.
Right.
They do so many different things. We've been drinking their coffee for a while now. The cinnamon, the Texas pecan, the breakfast blend, all so good. And they roast all the stuff themselves.
It does smell amazing. It's really good stuff. It's a family-owned company. They have a lot of loyal customers throughout Texas, probably throughout a lot of the American South. But we want to bring this coffee to everyone because it's good stuff.
It's really good stuff. The thing I like about it is you can order from the website, or you can go to Amazon and order it. And Amazon makes everything easier, right? So you don't even have to go to a website. Everything's already hooked up. You click buy the coffee. I like that he's now doing K-Cups because the Keurig has come through and replaced some coffee pots. Now here we brew, you and I, in a coffee pot, and I have a Keurig upstairs also. So, the coffee cups are amazing. And you can get a box of like 96 of these.
I think it's an assorted box, and what a treasure that is.
I know, and it ships for free. Everything ships for free. So, bright and early coffee. We were talking to Herschel one day, and he was basically telling us about the painted barns, that's how people used to advertise, that they would paint the side of their barn. Right. And it was $5. And there's some old barns out there with their logo still on that they had paid $5 for on the side of a barn. So cool.
That's very cool. I love that.
And if you want to try it, use the code on bagged coffee only, CWTCL 15. You get 15% off if you want to try it out, or go over to Amazon and order it there. But the code won't work on Amazon. It only works on the website.
Right.
But hey, go to their website. There's a video on here of them giving the whole story and everything else. And check out the chicken car. It's amazing.
It's fun.
They love chickens and coffee, so we're a perfect match. Check out that coffee. You won't be disappointed. Okay, so should we tell everybody what we're going to be talking about next week?
Next week, we're going to talk about the once postponed Ardennes hen. Main topic, we're joined by Erin Long. Erin is the marketing manager at the Humane Society of Harford County. We're going to talk about adopting chickens, and you're going to be surprised at how many chickens end up in shelters.
Yeah, it's startling.
Mm-hmm. Cracking the eggs. Ooh, drop biscuit egg bake. That just sounds good to me right now.
Sounds good.
And retail therapy, we're featuring jewelry from Minnesota from scratch. The wonderful Stephanie, who is a great chicken mama.
Is there anything that woman doesn't do? She's amazing.
She's fantastic.
Okay, so what should we tell everybody to do until next week?
Hug your chickens.
Every day, and kiss them too. We'll talk to you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
If you'd like to see more of us, please follow us on Instagram at Coffee with the Chicken Ladies. If you'd like to help us grow the podcast, please leave us a written review on Apple Podcasts. If you'd like to become a patron of the show, please visit our Patreon page, patreon.com/Coffee with the Chicken Ladies. Thanks for listening.